we have started that second chapter. In the second chapter, we had a discussion on that why interpersonal relationship is required at the workplace and how we need to maintain relationship. Now, this class I would like to continue on the process consultation and as well as team building, team building process. So, what is process consultation and how this topic is so important to us? So, process consultation, as in the name itself, they mention very clearly. For our understanding, as a layman point of view, you just have a look on that. What is the role of consultant? Consultant is a intermediary. He will rendering that services on behalf of the one manufacturer or producer or some kind of suppliers. On behalf of them, they will do all the sort of marketing activities, promotional activities. So here consultant will do only on behalf of your company or your suppliers. Maybe yes, but sometimes consultants they may tie up with more than two or more companies also. They will explain about one supplier or one company how they are doing their businesses. If you are okay, if you're happy with that, you can do your business process. Sometimes they are not at all happy with those things. So what they will do? Simply they will say like, no, we don't want. So by that time, the consultant will explain about another company. So this is a regular phenomena where we are able to see the role of the consultant. Now, for the better understanding of consultant, I would like to show you a small AV which is not more than 2 minutes.
You might be asking, what does a business process consultant actually do? Good question. When someone comes into your business from the outside, the great thing about it is they're a fresh set of eyes. I always told clients that I was working with that one of the core benefits of bringing me into their business was I was going to see things that they couldn't see being inside the business and just have a different lens, a different perspective on the company, which for you can be extremely valuable. So the first thing that a consultant will do when they get into your business is to learn their way around. They're going to ask questions, they'll interview your people, they'll set up sessions where they can really understand your business, because what they're looking for is what's working well and what's not working so well. And particularly for a business process consultant, they're focused in on your workflows, on your roles, your responsibilities, your systems. What is making you operationally inefficient? Are there inconsistencies in your business that you need to address and figure out how to do better? Really, that's what they're listening for at the beginning, is just problems and opportunities. So as you start to get down the path of documentation, of writing things down, the next thing they're going to do is just reflect back to you what exists in your business. And so if you start reading through documentation or technical writing that a consultant writes for you, you'll see that they're just mirroring back what you've told them. They're asking great questions, they're writing down those answers, and then they're letting you take a pass through that draft so you can fill in the gaps. It's a really important process to go through, where some outsider writes down a process for you, they hand it back to you, they get revisions, and then they complete it. And that's an iteration that you're gonna always go through in your business as you evolve your best practices. Now, along that process, you'll also realize that there are some problems. There are some things that you just don't know. Like, you'll get to a question, a fork in the road, where one person does it this way, one person does it this way, or someone raises their hand and says, I don't even know how to do that. And the consultant is gonna help you get a short list of those things to work on. And then from their experience at all other businesses, they'll actually be able to help you move the needle on those things. They'll recommend how a past client did it. They'll give you a template, and they'll work through it with you so that you go from no standard procedure to finally a standard procedure. So, working with a consultant really is a fresh perspective. It's someone to reflect back to you what exists today, and it's someone to help you build the ideal processes that are going to scale your business going forward. Into your business.
Okay, guys, we have seen that a brief presentation which was given by Chris Runch. He is the founder and CEO of Trainwell. So he has given that a very brief and crystal clear information about business process consultant. But of course, our topic is talking about the only the process consultant. But whereas he has given before a prefix and suffix also about the process consultant. The moment when you have an idea of to start any kind of businesses, what you're supposed to do, you need to read many the business related published papers, articles, and you need to interact with the people to know that how you are doing your businesses, what kind of hiccups you are facing during your business time, and what are the terms and conditions, rules and regulations. You must be know that a detailed information about the entire operational process of to start a business. Whereas instead of that, by reading and or maybe by getting the information, instead of that, you can able to approach by a person who is going to be called as a consultant, and he will guide you. He will explain about the whole process. He will take some time and he will explain about the entire business process, how you need to be start and how you need to be complete. He will explain you, and you will be having a face-to-face contact with him, and you can talk to him about whatever the doubts you are having, any kind of explanation you are going to be required. You can get all this information, which is going to be rendered by the consultant. So consultants are playing an important role in the era of the business development. So that we are also from the beginning we are very clearly focusing on how we need to be study and how we need to be develop the business from the ground level or initial stage only we have started our businesses. So here when we talk about the process consultation, whereas in the process consultation, a set of activities on the part of the consultant that help to the client to pursue to understand the and action in the process of the events. So for our better understanding, I will give you an example. I'm going to start a company, coir manufacturing company. But I want to know that the terms and conditions and where we need to get raw material for conversion of the finished product. What kind of machinery, labor, specialized things should I require? I don't know anything. Even after manufacturing, also I don't know where I should sell. I know only one thing: during the coir industry, you are getting many benefits from the government, and as well as there is a huge demand of the coir products in India. These 2 points only I know. So what I will do immediately, I will approach by the one consultant. So what consultant will do? He will explain about what I supposed to do, all the activities he will explain to me, and for my better understanding. And at the same time, I may request him also. Can you just try to help me? Because in the business industry, everybody will ready to help, not by free of cost, but definitely they will expect some sort of honorarium from us. So the moment when you are sharing the information with the clients, with the business partners, and the consultants mutually when they have the discussion, everybody will be understanding that this is a process we are going to be start, and for this purpose you need to be acquired such a some sort of environment, place, locations where this will be helpful for you, and you can able to find out that the better way of improving the situations, improving the business world. So the process consultation is a broader way of to explaining you A to Z. Now continuation of that, the partnership between client and consultant. So you can call me as a client because I want to start my process consultations or process of the some organization, and you are my consultant. You know very well, and you are having enough knowledge, potential person in that domain. Now, being a consultant and a client act equally, and you should not be treat that I'm the owner. I'm going to investing money, so you are just an advising to me. So I should not treat you as a not like a lower category person, and we both are equal because of your ideas. We are starting our organization, and another side also we are going to be having the fear when you are not giving equal importance to the consultant. What he will do that he will give the wrongful information. Sometimes intentionally he may do that mistakes. That is also problem for us. So the companies, the organizations, what they will do, the consultant and as well as clients will be taking that equal responsibility for completion of the task. Clients provide knowledge of organization nature of business and issues. So I already told you I know two important points only in the respect of the power industry. Government will support me and I'm getting much more profits. So being a client provide a knowledge of the organization, what kind of nature and what kind of business you are going to start, what kind of issues I'm going to face. So you can able to talk to him and mutually also you can gather the information. Whereas consultant also will provide the knowledge of the techniques, the way of thinking, and the practices that can solve your problems. So it is just like the consultant will be like our backbone because he has such a rich experience in particular process or particular business. Whenever the problem comes, definitely he will guide us, and he may suggest like many advisors consultation services also he will be offering for us for the betterment of our businesses. So in many ways we can get the services from the consultants, and we should be understand the partnership model. In the earlier slide already we had it that we had a brief discussion on that clients and consultants both are has given an equal level of preferences, equal level of distribution of the work, and relatively they will be work, and they should trust one to another. So the partnership model also will be giving that the solution, and as well as that is going to give that a guidance to make sure to have by the trendy booster. So because as a client, you know about only the 20 to 30 percentage of information. Whereas being a consultant, you know about the whole sector related experience, and as well as you are very well connected with the industry. So when compared to client, you are going to be very trendy, and you will be know that what is your role and the limitation. When you are entering into any kind of partnership, you will be clearly defined. These are my roles and responsibilities as being a consultant, and rest of things you need to be handled. And what is a role and responsibility has assigned to you, and relatively you will be honored. Relatively you will be getting your honoriums. That also we need to be taught before and before finalizing about by the partnership models. Not only by business related, not only by the trendy related, and also the in future you are going to start some more organization. I already told you the consultants they were tie up with many more institutions or they were well versed because three, four sectors experienced people will form that consultancy so that any domain, the moment you approach it to the consultant, they won't allow you to meet anybody from the outside of their organization. The moment you are entered, and they were having a set of experienced people, and they will guide you whatever the organization you are in the mood of to start your choir industry. Then the moment when you approach the consultant, he said, I'm not processing about any papers on choir industry, or if you want to start something some other industry, I'm experienced in that. Now person is saying no, I want to go for only choir. Then he may refer some other consultant where in the same group or by the same organization. So mutually also they will be trying to help to the people, and they don't want to allow anybody to go out. So that ultimately what will happen, the organization will be developed by they themselves. The moment you are referring somebody else, you are going to lose your offers. The moment you are hiring somebody process consultant like one, two, three, four, five, so ultimately you will be getting n number of people in the organization. That is also good and help for you only, not to anybody else. Proper maintenance of mutual responsibility, I already told you. The moment once once the client was satisfied, the process of the consultation, mutually they will be start their businesses. So by that time, they should require to maintain a mutual responsibility. Both are to be mutually conformed and completing the task what are all assigned to him. Here also the client owns the problems and determine the solution. Before you are entering into the process consultation, being a client, I have my own problems, and relatively I can able to solve those kind of issues also. When it comes to the consultant, he knows that the entire business how it is going to be running, and at the same time he will help to the client to see the issues and find that what best you can able to help you. See, it is just like a friend. What friend will do, he will acting as a well wisher for you and your family. Regularly you are going to do your regular process of work. If in case any problem comes, you can approach your friend. So friend will advise you, friend will assist you. If at all required any kind of financial assistance, that also will provide by the friend. So here also the consultant will be playing like a equivalent role. He will advise you, he will solve the issues, whatever you are unable to solve. So this kind of role and the help also will be performed by the consultant because you are new to this sector. You don't know how these organizations are running and functioning. Because the way of explanation and when it comes to the practical implementation, there are lots of differences. Sometimes you might be confused, or sometimes somebody may try to cheat you, and being a big B, he will be observing about all those things and he will be guiding you in a better solution. And whatever the solutions he is guiding you or giving to you, and that should be a absolute solution for you. Sometimes It is not an attractive factor for the uh, attracting factor for you. But even though you need to be aware that consultant advices and guidelines, because you don't know what will happen next. But consultant is experienced person, so that blindly you can able to follow him. That is also one advantage you will be getting through these businesses. Next, increased capacity for lessons learned. Human life is an experience piece. Every day is a new to us. Every moment, every activity, we are learning by the new lessons. In simple, to say like consultant is a masked rider. He just wearing a mask like your face, and he will be taking that lead for development of your organization. Even any problem comes, problems just like a bullet, even though he will be stand in front of you to face it. He is just like a bulletproof jacket. So he will do that all the kind of problem solving activities and as well as to the advisory services. But you should have a proper consultant before you are going to select that you are the best to me. Otherwise, which is going to be really a drawback for your industry. Better fit with the current organizational needs. We need to share that all the problems and we need to be diagnosed with the complete resolution leads. Whatever we are having the vision. So everybody will know that the problems we are going to face it. But many people will afraid, many people like a daredevil, they will solve the issues. But whenever the big problem comes, the moment you are in a position to solve by the issues, then ultimately you will become a dynamic personality. That is why what kind of issues you have seen and solved, that will be indicating that the kind or the nature of work, the efficiency you are having. So this is also to be like a one of the important factor where you will able to find out by the yourself. The expert consultation also will be having the best practices of the method. But we are having n number of consultant, but you are going to select by the best person. So he is the best to me, and with the help of this consultant, I can able to achieve my target. So this set of expert consultation also to be required. Sometimes what will happen, consultant also is unable to solve certain issues beyond his expectations. But the consultants, they are having well connected with the industry, and they know that who is going to give the best idea for this problem. So in that way, the consultants will be ensuring by the tools which is employed for the best fit of the organization's needs and interests. So in simple, the overall what I would like to tell you about the process consultation is you are going to approach some other consultant, and he will be guiding you in a better way of completion of your task. Now you are all are MBA graduates. Now you can able to see in your point of view a real time example like job interviews. So most of the time, what will you do? You will after completion of your MBA, you are going to attending for the job interviews. So in the job interview, if you are selected, you will be placed it. So for that also, what will you do is you will just forward your resume to the different consultants, Naukri, First Job, LinkedIn. Many places you are going to post your resume. So what these consultants will do, they will pick up your resume and they will forward to the best companies and they will guide you. This is how you need to prepare your resume and you need to prepare for the interview, and these are the rounds you will be having. First round technical, second round HR. So they will guide you in a better way, and then you are going to be ready, and then you are going to attending for the interview. This is a job point of view. Whereas in the business process consultant, the moment you said I'm going to start this kind of organization, they will tell you, and in this place you will able to get your raw material. If you want any kind of cargoes or by the carriers, I know the person who is going to provide you. If you are required any kind of laborers, employees. I know one consultancy, manpower consultancy, they will provide for the best employees for us. So you want to buy the machinery, you want any kind of finance. I know one bank. The bank will ready to provide financial assistance to us. So we'll get loan from the bank, we can buy the machinery. If you want any location to start your plant, I know one person, the landlord, is having 20 acres of land. We can take it lease for the 5 years. We can able to establish. So everywhere, the backbone, the entire work will be performed by the consultant. Even after manufacturing, you don't know how to give the advertisement. I know one sales and marketing ad agency. I will approach them. They will give advertisement on behalf of our company. You don't know where to sell the product. I know one distribution channel. I will talk to them. They will transfer to the retailers, and retailers will make sure sell our products. So the entire process will be managed and run by the consultant. But the bad thing is here, if any loss comes, you need to face it. Consultant will not be face it. Next, team building activities. As we know that team building is important point for an organizational point of view, because every day we are seeing many members, they were actively participating as a team coordination, team development. Now, if you want to build your team in a strengthened way, unfortunately, we are not having enough time on to discuss about face-to-face interaction. But in the industries, what they will do, they will try to spend some sort of time to completely throw away the nervousness. From the day one onwards, they were trying to make sure to have a strong team, the best team. So for that purpose, they will be continuously giving you different sort of inputs. Guys, just a minute. So, for effective, strong building of a team, we are having some sort of funny games. But of course, these funny games will be like interaction between one to another worker, another employee, so that they will be feel that this is not a new environment or a new location. So that when the work was started, they were very free to interact with one to another. So the first day itself, they will come to know that who is the supervisor and how he is talking with us differently environment will be creating by the team management. We'll just have a look on the videos once. So you have seen that in this video, people are they don't have any kind of interaction in earlier, but the moment that they joined the team, immediately they must be know that one to another. And relatively, what they have done is they were interacting with these small games. So with the help of these small games, what it was happened is they were well versed to know about who is other, what's their name. Because when you are actually participating in the team, you must be called other people by name. So by the time you know about opposite person name and how he is helping and how actively he is participating, so you will be somehow you will able to notice that what kind of person he is and how he is going to be adjusting and how he is playing the game. You will be understanding some sort of awareness about by the candidate. So in that way, the team related activities will be helpful for you to understand about by the another person. Now, next we'll talk on that team building activities. Under that, making an effective team. How you will able to make this is a very good team. So every time you must be understood the team building or the framing of the team should be focusing about all the activities. It should be focusing on who is going to be contribute. It is focusing on who is going to be develop a participative role. That means actively they will be participating in all the activities. And we need to be see who is going to promote the team responsibility, and then finally we are going to establish that this is the objectivity of the team. For your better understanding, we need a cricket Indian cricket team. So how we are going to make it as a very good Indian cricket team? In the Indian cricket team, we have given that equal importance for the each and every one. We have bowler, we have batsman, we have keeper, we have other what you say like good fielders. So combined together, we are going to have by the good team. Now, the moment when you are working in the organization, you should be split up the entire organization into the different parts of team. The team, everybody should have a unique quality. So somebody will be contribute, somebody will be actively participate, somebody will try to promote about your institution. So if everybody is having same kind of mindset and different fields they are expertise, then ultimately your team will be strong. Whatever issue comes, you are in a position of you are going to face it. So the team building, once you are going to be make sure as a stronger one, then definitely you are going to be set up by the very good objectives. Now, what are the key actions in team building? This is every time, everywhere we are seeing that team building is going to be important part, because the team members between they will be have some kind of coercion, some kind of misunderstanding, conflicts usually will be happen. Then ultimately the team spirit is going to be spoiled. So being a team leader, you should be focusing on all these things. How you need to make it as a very good team, and then only we can see that the importance of the team development. So setting and maintaining the team's objectives and standards. Being a team leader and as well as the team members, mutually you need to be sit and discuss, and you need to frame that these are the standards, these are the objectives, and based on this we need to be work. So this is the entire team members and as well as team leader. They were sitting mutually and discussing, and they have to be framed. And then involving the team as a whole in the achievement of the objectives. I cannot able to say like this is team objective even though I won't work, or this is your work only you are supposed to do. I won't do anything. So these kind of things you have to be just ignore when you are working in the team. In the entire team, the entire objectivity of the team development is the responsibility on the shoulders of the each and every team member. Every member should feel that this is my objectivity, my goal. The entire credit goes to my entire team. So this kind of team spirit should be required when you are attaining that your objectives. Third one, maintaining the unity of team. When you are working in the teams, You should not talk bad about or ill about your core team members. Everybody will have different kinds of setbacks. But even though being a team member, what you're supposed to do, you need to manage it and you need to increase your team spirit. This is nothing the bigger one. Definitely, we will see the best one. So maintaining that the entire team is working in target motive and we don't have any kind of ego clashes, any kind of inequalities, and definitely we are going to make sure as a role model as the best team in the organization. So that kind of unity of teams to be required. Next, communicating efficiently with the team. When you are getting the information from anywhere, you need to share with the entire team members. I won't talk to him, so I won't share any kind of information. Then ultimately that is going to spoil the entire team culture, team spirit. Whatever the information you have received, you need to share with the each and every team members because all your services are paid service. This is the not the place where you want to show that your egos and slippers just live at the outside of the organization. When you are entering, you are getting salary and you need to be working. And because of the egos, they don't want to see all these things at the organization because they want to they want all the employees are to be performed well so that only the entire organization will be achieving their target. Even if one employee is not working properly, even you cannot able to get by the good name. Last one, consulting the team members. When you are taking that any kind of actions, before that you need to talk, consult with the team members. I'm going to take this decision. So are you okay with that? Or do you have any kind of better ideas for development of the team spirit? So when we have an open discussion with the other team members, and then definitely what they will think like, yes, our boss is really a good person. Whenever he's going to take the decision, he will contact with the all the members, and relatively he will take the opinion. So when the leadership or when the leader is very strong, then ultimately the entire team will be the good in performance. So that is the reason here I would like to show a video on importance of the leadership. So if the leader was an effective person, if the leader is good in the decision making aspect and as well as to perform his regular roles without any biased thing, then what kind of impact we can able to see in build up by the strong team. Now we'll just have a look on this video also.
Hello everybody, and once again most welcome to Tutorials Point. Well, whether you lead a team or you are a part of team, what is it that is the most important, or what is it that your manager started to tell you the very first day? Well, I'm sure it is going to be what? Teamwork, right? Or team building. So why is team building so important, and what or who is the one who is primarily responsible for building the team? Well, leadership is a very important part of team building, right? A leader has a very big role to play as far as building the team is concerned, right? So let us go ahead and see as to what is the importance of leadership in team building. Okay, well, the first and the foremost thing which a leader can basically do to build the entire team, well, I'm sure it is going to help you a lot, because I'm sure a few years down the lane, you are also going to become a leader, or if you already are a leader, well, then this is going to be really handy for you. So what is the first thing which is going to be really, really helpful to you as far as your leadership is concerned, or as far as building your team is concerned? Well, that is fostering open and honest communication. Well, unless and until the communication in the entire team is very, very open and very, very honest, the team will never ever have that team spirit, right? The entire team will never work collaboratively, right? So in order to basically just rub off any communication gap or any kind of doubt in the mind of any team member, it is really important for the entire team to basically have a very, very open and honest communication. And who is the one, or how is it that honest and open communication is going to happen? Well, that will only happen when your leader is really efficient, is really non-judgmental, and actually is working very, very diligently to build the entire team. Because I'm sure if you're a leader and you're seeing this video, I'm sure you know that the entire success of the team primarily will depend on the basically the team unity, right, or the team spirit. Because only when there is that unity in the entire team will they go ahead to basically achieve any target, right? So if you are able to build and foster an honest communication, well, it is actually probably the most important thing to do, right? So along with that, it also is going to help you to basically just eliminate all the possibilities of any person thinking that you are favoring someone or there is any favoritism in the team. So erasing all the doubts along with effective team building is going to come in handy if you basically foster a very, very honest and open communication as a leader.
I just finished a keynote and I was rushing back in my car and it was raining out there. And I just realized how much I love my life. And then I was struck by this idea that you too deserve a life like this. You are somebody who has heard me speak before, and you are someone who shares an exact same dream as mine, which is to make this world a better place. You deserve to be a speaker, trainer, coach, because I know that when I started off on this journey, I wasn't sure what the right path to this entire journey and entire dream would be. I know that in my entire experience of having coached people across the globe over and over and over and over again, through this decade, I have learned that there are so many things that I should not be doing. And if you are also one amongst those people, then understand that you deserve for this world to know your story and you deserve to live an extraordinary life. Well, I have put together this webinar for speakers, trainers, and coaches. Basically, I have put together this webinar exclusively for you, where I want to tell you how you can turn your life around.
Well, creating collaborative goals. Yes, so what happens when an entire team is basically working towards a common goal? Well, if an entire team is working towards a common goal, automatically they are going to be linked. Automatically, the success of one part is going to depend on the other part, right? So the entire team is going to work together. So when as a leader you are able to create collaborative goals, you definitely are going to foster a huge team spirit, right? And if there is team spirit, if there is the entire team is very, very connected, well, I'm sure the entire team will basically contribute to a huge amount of success, right? So the team is going to be productive no matter what. So if you end up creating collaborative goals, this is going to yet foster a very, very good team culture in your entire team. Well, how about celebrating the success of all the team members? Well, as a leader, the entire team member or all the team members look up to you for a lot of appreciation, right? For all the work that they've put in or for all the hard work that they are doing. They definitely look up to the leader for a lot of appreciation. Well, as a leader, there might be definitely a lot already on your plate, and you definitely would be clouded with so many thoughts all the time. But just remember one thing: if you're able to celebrate the success of your entire team, each member of your entire team all the time, they do something good or they try to do something good also, well then definitely those members are basically you have bought them, right? They are definitely going to lay all their trust on you, right? All their loyalty in you. So if you want to have loyal team members and if you want to foster team building, well, do not forget to celebrate their success. Well, how about allowing the team to basically solve the problem? So what actually happens is whenever you give a responsibility to any team member or to your team to basically finish or to basically solve any problem, well, they start to feel that their importance, right? So every member is going to start to feel responsible. They are going to start to work towards solving a particular problem. And not just that, they will also start to feel that yes, they have the talent and yes, they can do it, right? So it is extremely important that you basically don't just do everything yourself being a leader, rather let the members also put in their own efforts and let them feel responsible and let them also feel that yes, they are worth it, right? So giving them problems to solve on their own and giving them the discretion to take the decision is basically going to basically foster a lot of their responsibility and a lot of their talent, right? So being a leader, I think this is a huge, or this is basically, if you do this, you're going to basically create a leader, right? So, and of course, keep yourself accountable. Well, no matter what happens, or even if you have given a particular task to a few of your team members to complete it, well, do not forget that ultimately the entire responsibility, the entire onus of good or bad, of success or failure lies on the leader. And what is basically, what is it that makes a leader the best leader? What is the quality of basically a good leader? Well, during the time of failure, the leader is going to stand ahead, and during the time of success, the leader will step back and let the team members take the entire appreciation for the success that comes their way. So if you're able to do that, or if you're able to keep yourself accountable, well then you are done. You are definitely going to be a very, very good leader. And in turn, what are you going to do? You basically will lead into building a very, very good team. Well, I'm sure all these points are going to help you a lot in your role as a leader, and definitely they will help you to build a very, very effective team in future. Well, I'll see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with Tutorials Point and Tutorix. Have a good day.
Okay, guys, this is a brief introduction about the team leader, what kind of essential qualities he should be required. And based on this, we can able to find out the team spirit will be move up and they will be seeing their best in the performance.